Luca Shea, it's me, Lorenzo Buttram Hubbard, the gay socialite, the Dallas socialite, the Brickell socialite, the $1 million decorator alumnus, continuing caring and sharing, and this one is going to be a little bit different. I'm sure you've heard me say over and over again, those of you who have been following me for a while, you're either going to be a part of the solution or you're going to be a part of the problem. And I choose to be a part of the solution. I love what I do for a living. Absolutely love it. But it's also important to me that I am thinking about not only myself, my clients, the industry, the designers that are also trying to make a living out there, and the people who are studying design, the young people who are either sitting in middle school, high school, universities, or who just want to design and don't have the money to go to university, but they still have a passion for it. So I feel for all of these people because I know what it's like to have a passion for something and you just have to do it. Very excited that Dallas has a design week. It's in October. It's coming up. And I got the magazine, Paper City, full disclosure, I followed them and I tagged them on a lot of things that I do because being a socialite, I want them to know where I am, even though I'm not at everything where their photographer goes. But I also opened it and I saw this design. I saw Design Texas. That's what it said. It says Texas Design Week Dallas. Read that, still excited from October 7th to Friday, October 11th, still excited. And then I looked at this. So these are the 18 people, design professionals, that they are going to feature or have doing either seminars, lectures, book signings, all of these things during Design Week, Texas. I don't know if you noticed the common theme with all of these people, but all of them were white. I am going to say this. I don't have a problem with these 18 people. It's nothing about the 18 people who are included. It's about the lack of diversity for the people who aren't there. That there's no representation for the African American, Latino, Asian, Middle Eastern, anyone. None of them are represented here. And that bothers me. It bothers me because it sends the wrong message. I took my time, and I want you guys to know this. I saw this magazine in the beginning of the week. I took the whole week. It's now the weekend. I took the whole week to go around and talk to people. So I made sure it was going to be over 100 people. And I made sure that I was talking to people that were young, older, all different nationalities, women, men, everything, and asking them, and I showed them the picture, and then I took another 50 and I sent them emails, text messages, things like that, and asked them, how do you feel when you see this? I will tell you that at least 90% of the people immediately looked at the picture, and the first thing that came out of their mouths were, this is terrible. They immediately noticed it was all white people. I want to say there were only two guys who looked at this. There were white guys that looked at this picture and then they were like, I don't see what the problem. Then once I pointed out that everybody was white, they were like, oh, I didn't notice that. After I pointed that out, they were like, yeah, that's kind of messed up. This is it. Once again, every last one of these 18 people probably worked very hard. I don't know them. Probably worked very hard to get wherever they are, to accomplish whatever they've accomplished. And I'm not saying anything negative against them being included. I don't know why anybody would want to be included in a seminar lecture with 18 people in the world of design. And keep in mind, this is fashion, interior, architectural landscape, even chefs are there. The culinary arts are represented. So I want to ask the people that did this, because I don't believe that this was, for me, this has to be intentional. And the reason I say it has to be, it feels let me back up. I can't say it has to be. Let's say it feels intentional. And the reason it feels intentional is because I don't think that one person put this together. I don't think that one person sat down and put this whole thing together by yourself. And it's hard for me to believe that if a group of people pulled this whole thing together, that not one person brought up the fact that we only have white people. We are not representing any people of color at all, or their interests, or what they're going through. And I'm sorry, there are certain things that people can't speak to unless you've actually lived it. And some things you can't speak to unless you actually look like somebody. But I said, let me go one step, let me do my homework. So I went and looked at their last year roster. Yes, it was all white people last year too. Yes, and Houston, they have one too. Yeah, there is one lady, out of fairness, there is one lady in Houston who I think is Latina by her name. But I could not find anything in her bio profile or anything like that that said that she was Latina. So I don't want to just assume that someone is Latina based on their name. That's not fair. She could just have a name that sounds Latina. But 2018, 2019, the same thing. The message that this sends, and I'm going to tell you, the message, this is, for me, this is political. This is economically driven, and it is disrespectful. Now, the disrespect part, I don't have to explain to anyone. Everybody can understand why it feels disrespectful. The political part for me is what I just explained, that I really believe in my heart that someone had to bring this to someone's attention. And they decided that the politics of our particular organization are, we're fine with having all white people and no representation from anyone of color, even though people of color should be here speaking to something. Some of the same subjects as the people that are coming are speaking to. And then it's economically motivated to me as well. And the reason I say economically motivated is because the message that something like this sends is to people who are out there who are thinking of hiring a designer, hiring a chef or someone in the culinary arts, a fashion designer, architectural designer, whatever. The message you're sending is, this is what they look like. They don't look like me. They don't look like someone who is Latino or someone who is Middle Eastern or someone who is Asian. They look like the 18 white people that we're putting in front of you. So economically, we're trying to keep these other people from being able to make a living because we're not even presenting them as an option to you. Let me say this, as someone who comes from Miami, and now I'm in Dallas, you can go through LA, New York, Miami, and Dallas as well. And if you just take the people, and I'm just talking about a very small fraction, so if you just take the people of color that are in the entertainment industry, the sports industry, people who play football, basketball, baseball, and soccer, and just take those people of color, billions of dollars a year that they spend in the design industry. Billions. Not millions, billions of dollars a year they spend in the design industry. The people of color deserve a seat at the table at every particular design week, especially when it's happening in a major metropolitan city like Dallas. I ask young people who are studying design of color, young people of color, Latino, Asian, African American. I didn't meet anyone Middle Eastern, but I did meet someone who was from India. How did this make them feel? Discouraged, sad, hopeless, left out. So I want the people who are putting this on, I want you guys to know how you're making young people who are thinking about coming into our profession, how you're making them feel when you do something like this. Because they're watching what you do. And if people, and I like to say to the people like myself, I'm someone who's been doing the same thing now for over 30 years. I know what exists in our profession. But if we don't speak up, just like females at one point had to speak up, even white females when it came in the world of architecture and engineering, when they weren't included, when they weren't given a seat at the table. And I'm sorry, in 2019, a white gay man or a white female is not considered diversity in the design world. Maybe a white straight man would be considered diversity first. So that part really gets me, because we're supposed to be an industry that is harmonious, inclusive, where people come together to create beautiful things, and actually that makes people want to get up. It makes people feel great about themselves. But we've dropped the ball here. Once again, I would like to say to the people who were included, I don't know if any of these people, because I want to be fair to them, because I would want someone to be fair to me. I don't know if they knew which people were going to be included before they accepted. I do know that they could have gone and looked at the roster from last year in both cities and said, I don't want to be a part of something that does not have any type of diversity. That's not an inclusive experience, especially if it's going to be in a major metropolitan city, and especially if there are going to be 18 of us. Not 4, not 3, but 18 of us. There needs to be some type of inclusion there for people who look like the money that is spent in our industry. So I wanted to share this. I hope that more people speak out. I hope that the people who are a part of the Texas Design Week recognize that there are people out there of color who feel let down by your decision not to include any people of color in any way on your panels and discussions. Not even a designer speaking to the journey or what it's like to be a person of color working in the design field. That's not even there, because it is difficult being a person of color. I know as an interior designer, it's very difficult. And I know it's difficult because even for people who are from Latin America, because I have gone to countries where my profession didn't even exist before, and have made an opportunity for other designers and architects to actually get jobs in those countries, in places like Nicaragua, Costa Rica, San Salvador, places where those careers didn't even exist. So I know that people can do the work. They can make opportunities happen. They just have to want to. I'm Lorenzo Buttram Hubbard. I'm a designer of color. And I'm a person who believes that you're either going to be a part of the problem or you're going to be a part of the solution. And I choose to be a part of the solution. And I also believe that the world that I belong to, the world of the arts, is supposed to be inclusive. It's supposed to be beautiful. And we're always supposed to extend a hand to those who are coming up behind us to let them know that they're wanted. And that's the message that I always hope that I'm sending. Good day.